Twin pregnancy changes everything you think you know about motherhood. The moment you see two heartbeats flickering on the screen, excitement and fear collide in a way no book truly prepares you for. You imagine double the joy, double the love, and yes, double the chaos, but what you don't imagine are the quiet worries at 3 a.m., the overwhelming decisions, and the physical and emotional intensity that can catch you off guard. What if someone had told you the truths that rarely make it into pregnancy apps or glossy social media posts? What if you could step into this journey feeling informed instead of anxious? Today, I'm sharing what I wish I had known before getting pregnant with twins, real lessons that could have prevented anxiety or mistakes at the beginning of the journey. Finding out you're expecting twins is a life-defining moment. It feels magical, surreal, and sometimes terrifying all at once. The world suddenly seems to spin faster as you realize you're preparing not for one baby, but for two tiny lives growing inside you. While the joy is immense, so are the questions, doubts, and unexpected challenges. This video is about honesty. It's about the lessons I learned the hard way, the information I wish someone had shared with me earlier, and the mindset shifts that made all the difference. If you're pregnant with twins, trying to conceive, or simply curious about the reality behind the headlines, stay with me until the end. And if you value real, vulnerable stories about motherhood, make sure to subscribe and share this with someone who might need it. Twin pregnancy is a world of its own, and I wish I had understood from the beginning that it is not simply a double version of a singleton pregnancy. The physical demands are not just multiplied, they are intensified in ways that can surprise even the most prepared mother. Your body expands faster, your energy drains sooner, and the simple tasks of daily life can feel like climbing a mountain earlier than expected. I remember assuming that because I had read about pregnancy in general, I knew what to expect, but carrying two babies reshaped every expectation. The hunger was stronger, the nausea sometimes more persistent, and the emotional waves deeper. Understanding that twin pregnancy requires a different level of patience and self-compassion would have saved me from comparing myself to mothers carrying one baby. Comparison became the thief of my peace, and I learned that this journey demands its own rhythm. One of the biggest lessons I wish I had known before getting pregnant with twins was how crucial specialized medical care can be. Not all pregnancies are monitored the same way, and twin pregnancies often require more frequent ultrasounds, more detailed checkups, and sometimes consultation with specialists in maternal-fetal medicine. At first, I underestimated the importance of this extra monitoring, thinking it might only add stress. Instead, it brought clarity and reassurance. Seeing each baby develop, understanding their positions, and being aware of potential complications helped me replace fear with knowledge. Twin pregnancy carries higher risks for preterm labor, gestational diabetes, and high blood pressure, and being informed early allows you to make proactive choices. I wish someone had told me that seeking additional support is not a sign of weakness or paranoia. It is an act of protection and empowerment. Knowledge did not eliminate uncertainty, but it gave me tools to face it. The emotional intensity of carrying twins was something I deeply underestimated. I expected joy, of course, but I did not anticipate the magnitude of anxiety that could accompany it. When you are responsible for two lives growing simultaneously, the sense of responsibility can feel overwhelming. Every cramp, every unusual sensation, every moment of fatigue can trigger worry. One wish I had known that anxiety is common in twin pregnancies and that acknowledging it early is healthier than pretending to be fearless. Suppressing fear only amplifies it. Talking openly with my partner, my doctor, and even trusted friends created a space where vulnerability became strength instead of shame. Emotional preparation is just as vital as physical preparation. Mindfulness practices, journaling, and simply allowing myself to rest emotionally made a difference. Twin pregnancy demands mental resilience, and I learned that nurturing my emotional health was not optional. It was essential for both babies and for me. Another lesson that could have prevented anxiety at the beginning of the journey was understanding how different twin pregnancies can be from each other. There are fraternal twins and identical twins, and even among identical twins there are variations in how they share the placenta and amniotic sac. I initially did not grasp how these distinctions could affect monitoring and medical decisions. Learning about chorionicity and amnionicity sounded technical and intimidating, but it empowered me to ask better questions. Each type of twin pregnancy carries its own considerations, and knowing which category you fall into helps clarify the road ahead. I wish I had approached those early appointments with curiosity instead of passive trust. Doctors are invaluable, but being an informed patient changes the dynamic. It shifts you from feeling like a bystander in your own pregnancy to feeling like an active participant. Information transforms fear into focused attention, and focused attention builds confidence. Physically, I wish I had prepared sooner for the reality of rapid body changes. With twins, the belly grows faster, the back strains more, and simple movements become challenging earlier in the pregnancy. I remember feeling shocked by how quickly my center of gravity shifted and how soon I needed maternity clothes designed for later stages. Gentle exercise, recommended by healthcare providers, became a lifeline. Prenatal yoga and stretching supported my back and hips in ways I had not anticipated. I also underestimated the importance of supportive shoes and proper posture. These small details matter more when carrying two babies. Nutrition also plays a crucial role, and I wish I had understood how caloric and protein needs increased. Instead of fearing weight gain, I learned to see food as fuel for three bodies. Twin pregnancy is not the time for restrictive thinking. It is a time for nourishment, intentional care, and listening carefully to what your body communicates. One mistake I made early on was trying to maintain the same pace of life I had before pregnancy. I believed that strength meant pushing through fatigue and continuing to meet every obligation. In reality, twin pregnancy redefines productivity. Rest becomes a form of responsibility, not laziness. The exhaustion I felt was not weakness. It was my body working overtime to sustain two developing lives. I wish I had slowed down sooner, delegated tasks, and accepted help without guilt. There is a cultural narrative that celebrates the superwoman who does it all, but twin pregnancy teaches humility. It invites you to surrender unrealistic expectations and prioritize essentials. Learning to say no became one of the most powerful skills of my journey. Protecting my energy protected my babies. I discovered that resilience does not always look like endurance. Sometimes it looks like rest, boundaries, and the courage to admit that you need support. Preparing for the possibility of preterm birth is another reality that I initially resisted. Many twin pregnancies result in earlier deliveries, and while that does not guarantee complications, it requires mental and practical preparation. I wish I had toured the hospital earlier, asked more detailed questions about neonatal care, and educated myself about what a short stay in the neonatal intensive care unit might involve. Avoiding these topics did not protect me from fear, it left me unprepared. When you anticipate possibilities calmly and realistically, you reduce the shock factor. Understanding the signs of preterm labor, recognizing the importance of rest, and following medical guidance strictly can make a difference. I learned that planning for various scenarios is not pessimistic, it is wise. Hope and preparation can coexist. Twin pregnancy often requires balancing optimism with practicality, and embracing that balance early would have saved me many sleepless nights. Financial planning is another aspect I underestimated. Double cribs, double car seats, double diapers, these are obvious expenses, but the hidden costs can accumulate quickly. Medical appointments, potential early delivery, and time off work may create financial strain if not anticipated. I wish I had created a more detailed budget earlier in the pregnancy and explored community resources or family support without embarrassment. Preparing financially is not about fear, it is about stability. When you reduce financial uncertainty, you create mental space to focus on health and connection. Twin pregnancy invites long-term thinking. It challenges you to consider not just the immediate needs of newborns but the evolving needs of two growing children. Planning ahead does not remove all stress, but it builds a foundation. The earlier you accept that practical preparation is an expression of love, the more empowered you feel facing the unknown. Another truth I wish I had embraced earlier is that twin pregnancy may require adjusting birth expectations. Many women envision a specific birth plan, perhaps a natural delivery with minimal intervention. But twins can introduce variables that shift those plans. The baby's positions, their size, and their health all influence delivery options. I held tightly to a particular vision, and when doctors discussed alternatives, I felt disappointment instead of flexibility. Over time, I realized that the ultimate goal is safety, not perfection. Letting go of rigid expectations reduced anxiety significantly. Educating myself about both vaginal and cesarean deliveries helped me approach the final weeks with calm readiness. Twin pregnancy teaches adaptability in profound ways. The more open you are to change, the less you suffer when circumstances evolve. Flexibility becomes a form of strength, and strength becomes a gift you carry into motherhood. Sleep, or the lack of it, begins long before the babies arrive. I wish I had taken advantage of early opportunities to rest without guilt. As the pregnancy progresses, physical discomfort can make deep sleep elusive. Finding supportive pillows, establishing calming nighttime routines, and limiting late-night screen exposure became crucial. I underestimated how much restorative sleep impacts emotional resilience. Fatigue amplifies anxiety, and twin pregnancy already stretches your emotional capacity. Small habits, such as consistent bedtimes and relaxation techniques, can build a protective buffer. Preparing for postpartum sleep deprivation also means building support systems in advance. Discussing nighttime responsibilities with your partner and planning shifts can prevent resentment later. Sleep may never feel abundant, but intentional planning softens the impact. Understanding that rest is strategic, not indulgent, changed how I treated my own needs. Community became one of the most transformative aspects of my journey. Yet I initially tried to navigate twin pregnancy independently. I wish I had connected sooner with other parents of multiples. Hearing their stories normalized my fears and offered practical insights that no general pregnancy guide provided. There is something deeply reassuring about speaking with someone who truly understands the intensity of carrying and raising twins. Online groups, local meets, and prenatal classes tailored to multiples create spaces of shared wisdom. Isolation feeds anxiety, while connection fosters resilience. Twin pregnancy can feel unique and overwhelming, but you are not alone. The willingness to reach out dissolves the illusion that you must figure everything out yourself. Community does not remove challenges, but it distributes their weight more evenly. Knowing others had survived and thrived gave me hope during moments of doubt. I also wish I had prepared more intentionally for the postpartum period. The focus during pregnancy often centers on delivery, but life after birth requires equal attention. Caring for two newborns simultaneously can be physically and emotionally demanding. Establishing feeding strategies, organizing supplies efficiently, and arranging practical help in advance make a profound difference. I underestimated how essential structure would become. Simple systems, such as synchronized feeding schedules when possible, helped create predictability. I learned that perfection is unrealistic and that flexibility remains essential. Twin pregnancy prepares you for multitasking, but postpartum life tests that skill daily. Accepting imperfection early would have spared me frustration. The newborn phase passes quickly, yet it feels endless in the moment. Preparing mentally for this paradox builds patience and compassion for yourself. Self-identity shifts dramatically during twin pregnancy. I wish I had acknowledged sooner that becoming a mother of twins would reshape my sense of self. The intensity of the experience can eclipse other aspects of identity, and that transition can feel disorienting. Instead of resisting change, embracing it as growth transformed my perspective. Journaling about my evolving emotions helped me integrate this new chapter with the person I had always been. Twin pregnancy expands your capacity for love, responsibility, and endurance. It also challenges you to redefine balance. Accepting that transformation is natural eased the fear of losing myself. In truth, I was not losing myself, I was expanding. Recognizing this earlier would have softened the emotional turbulence of transition. Nutrition and hydration became more significant than I had imagined. I wish I had prioritized balanced meals and consistent water intake from the very beginning. Carrying twins increases demands on your body's resources, and neglecting basic nourishment can intensify fatigue and discomfort. Planning meals in advance and keeping healthy snacks accessible made daily life smoother. Iron levels, protein intake, and overall caloric balance deserve attention in twin pregnancy. Rather than focusing on appearance, shifting focus to function empowered me. Food became a tool for strength, not a source of anxiety. When you nourish yourself well, you indirectly nourish both babies more effectively. This simple yet profound truth deserves more emphasis at the start of the journey. Ultimately, the most important lesson I wish I had known before getting pregnant with twins is that fear and joy can coexist without canceling each other out. Twin pregnancy magnifies emotions, responsibilities, and expectations, but it also magnifies love in ways that are difficult to describe. The early anxiety I felt did not mean I was unprepared. It meant I cared deeply. Accepting complexity allowed me to move forward with courage instead of self-judgment, sharing real lessons that could have prevented anxiety or mistakes at the beginning of the journey is not about regret, it is about growth. Every challenge carried a hidden invitation to become more patient, more informed, and more compassionate with myself. Twin pregnancy is demanding, but it is also transformative beyond measure. Looking back, I realized that twin pregnancy was not just about preparing for two babies. It was about preparing my heart and mind for a new level of resilience. The lessons I learned did not eliminate challenges, but they changed how I faced them. If you are at the beginning of this journey, know that uncertainty is natural, preparation is powerful, and self-compassion is essential. You do not have to be fearless to be strong. Twin pregnancy will stretch you in ways you never imagined, but it will also reveal strength you did not know you possessed. And sometimes, the most important preparation is simply believing that you are capable of growing alongside the two lives growing within you.